Rifles are only as good as the ammo we feed them. The wrong choice can ruin accuracy, stopping power, or even its performance. Finding the perfect ammo for your rifle caliber isn't just about getting hits on target, it's about reliability, precision, and purpose-built performance. In this video, we'll talk about the top 7 rifle ammunition brands that deliver unparalleled results across all popular calibers, ensuring you get the most out of your firearm, whether you're hunting, defending your home, or hitting the range. The 2.62 uses a 77-grain Sierra Match King bullet with a cannelure flying around 2,750 feet per second. That weight and velocity combination remains stable at varying ranges, giving you confidence whether you're pressing tight groups at 100 yards or stretching out farther. Groups stay sub-MOA on average, measuring about 0.953 inches across multiple platforms. I saw even tighter cloverleafs in certain rifles built for high precision, where it hovered around 0.8 inches. At 300 yards, you can still keep everything nicely clustered, which is never a guarantee with cheaper factory ammo. Now, I know it's possible that you've run into other ammo brands like Nosler Match Grade 223 or AAC Match Grade 556, and those two have their own set of perks. The Nosler can be exceptionally precise, but you'll notice a bigger hit to your wallet per round. AAC can be more budget-friendly, yet it doesn't always match the 2.62 when you push out to longer distances. There's also the 55-grain Freedom Munitions FIMAX for varmints or Lake City's M855 for general plinking, but neither brings the same versatility and consistent downrange performance. The heavier 77-grain bullet of the 2.62 holds its speed better in the wind and delivers more reliable terminal effects than lighter varmint loads or standard FMJs. Black Hills also has a reputation for painstaking quality control. Each cartridge is built with annealed brass, properly crimped primers, and meticulously seated bullets. You'll appreciate that level of care when you're firing hundreds of rounds without a single malfunction. If you want one load that can confidently take you from a serious match to a home defense role, the 2.62 is absolutely worth the cost. If you own a Kalashnikov in 7.62x39, I bet you already know the importance of ammo that's cheap enough for frequent practice, but still runs without a hitch. That's exactly why I recommend Wolf 122-grain FMJ for 7.62x39. It hits that sweet spot between cost-effectiveness and reliability, which is critical if you like to keep your rifle roaring round after round without stress. The steel-cased design and non-corrosive primers make Wolf ideal for the AK platform. You've got an ammo type that was practically made for the rifle's rough-and-tumble nature. In range sessions, it's common to tear through hundreds of these rounds with no malfunctions, and you won't have to worry about your rifle struggling with extraction or ejection. Each cartridge uses a 122-grain bullet traveling around 2,396 feet per second, and while it's not a match load, you'll get decent enough accuracy for practical shooting. It's also friendly on your wallet, hovering somewhere in the range of 30 to 40 cents a round, which is a relief if you're buying by the case. Some folks prefer brass-cased options for 7.62x39, like Winchester PDX-1 or PMC Bronze, but to me, steel-cased ammo complements the AK's rugged design. Winchester PDX-1 is designed for self-defense, with a sophisticated split-core hollow point that can cost well over $1 each. That's fine if you're strictly using your AK in a home defense role, but it can get expensive for high-volume shooting. PMC Bronze is known for tighter groups due to its brass case and consistent powder charges, though it doesn't offer a big enough accuracy jump to justify spending more for most people. If you need to quickly stockpile ammo that will cycle reliably and give you solid performance in training or general-purpose situations, Wolf 122-grain FMJ is exactly the kind of load you need. If you're running a 300 Blackout setup, maybe an AR pistol for home defense, or a short-barreled rifle with a can for hog hunting, Barnes VOR ATX 110-grain TAC TX FB is the choice I always suggest. You'll get an all-copper bullet with a polymer tip that moves around 2,340 feet per second. That's a speed that helps the round expand reliably when it hits your target, but it still retains weight so it can punch through barriers or thicker hide if you're going after wild hogs. I've gotten sub-MOA results with this load from bolt-action rifles built for 300 Blackout, and semi-autos feed it without issue. In the field, it has demonstrated consistent performance on whitetail deer and even on tougher game where you need a bullet that won't disintegrate on bone. Hornady Black 110 grain VMAX is another name you might hear, especially for varmint control or smaller targets. That's a fast load with a bullet that fragments nicely, but it can fail to penetrate deeper if you're up against anything more substantial than coyotes. Winchester Deer Season XP 150 grain or Sig Sauer Elite Series copper can also get the job done, but they sometimes fall behind Barnes in terms of overall accuracy or consistent expansion. And if you're strictly looking for range ammo, you can go cheaper with something like HSM's VMAX, although that won't quite match the performance of Barnes when you need serious stopping power. If you're willing to invest in a premium bullet for your 300 Blackout, Barnes VOR-TX 100 grain TAC TXFB is the round I'd trust. It's got the velocity for clean shots on thin-skinned game and the weight retention to handle bigger challenges, so you don't have to worry about changing loads every time you switch between hunting, defense, or just fun at the range. When you're shooting 6.5 Grendel, it's natural to want something that delivers flat trajectories, retains energy downrange, and still groups tightly at various distances. Hornady Black 123 grain ELD is tough to beat in this caliber because it's made with a bullet shape that shrugs off wind and stays accurate in challenging conditions. It's capable of velocity levels of about 2,580 feet per second, which isn't the fastest on paper, but that 123 grain ELD bullet maintains momentum well and carries sufficient energy for mid-size game like deer or hogs. Hornady's quality control helps ensure these rounds are consistent in velocity and bullet concentricity, so you're not wasting your time chasing zero when you switch from casual practice to serious hunts or competitions. The ELD design has an aerodynamic tip that encourages reliable expansion once it hits soft tissue, and the heavier bullet gives you better penetration than a lighter varmint-style projectile. You might consider Wolf Military Classic 100 grain FMJ if you just want to do a lot of plinking. That's inexpensive ammo and still surprisingly accurate for range work, but it's not the best for hunting or longer shots because it's a lighter bullet and uses steel casings. PRVI Partisans 120 grain HPBT is another possibility, known for decent brass and reliability, although it lacks the advanced ballistic coefficient you get with Hornady's ELD Nosler. Match grade is excellent if you're laser-focused on precision alone, but it often comes at a higher cost without providing the same hunting-friendly terminal performance. Hornady Black 123 grain ELD is a straightforward solution. You'll get reliability, solid grouping, and enough punch for ethical kills on medium game. If you hunt with a .308 Winchester, or you like to have one rifle that can fill a variety of roles, Federal Premium Vital Shock 165 grain Trophy. Bonded tip is a load you should consider. It has a bullet design that hits the sweet spot between deep penetration, reliable expansion, and consistent accuracy, so you can go after deer, hogs, or even elk with confidence. The trophy bonded tip bullet weighs 165 grains, leaving the muzzle around 2,700 feet per second, and it's designed to hold together when it meets tough tissue or bone. There's a polymer tip that helps the bullet maintain a streamlined shape, so it performs well when you're taking longer shots. I've shot it from several rifles over the years, and it has always grouped nicely, somewhere around an inch at 100 yards in a good bolt gun. It's also a round you can trust for follow-up shots in semi-auto platforms due to its consistent pressure and clean powder burn. Other .308 loads sometimes specialize too heavily, like the Hornady Match 168 grain ELD for target shooting, or the Remington Core-Locked 150 grain for traditional hunting at close to mid-range. Hornady Match is amazing for precision work on paper, but it's not designed for the bullet to hold together on large game. Remington Core-Locked has been around forever and works well enough for deer inside 200 yards, though it starts to show limitations beyond that, especially if you want tighter groupings. Barnes VOR-ATX 130 grains is perfect if you mainly target smaller game or if you're after faster velocities, but the lighter bullet can struggle with penetration on bigger animals. Federal Premium Vital Shock 165 grain. Trophy bonded tip is the one that feels the most balanced, at least in my experience. If you're a 6.5 Creedmoor shooter chasing pinpoint accuracy, Sierra Match King. Competition 140 grain HPBT is absolutely worth your attention. This cartridge is often a favorite among precision shooters and competitive marksmen because it consistently produces tight groups across different rifles, and it offers a trajectory that's flatter than many other calibers in the same class. You get a hollow point boat-tail bullet weighing 140 grains at about 2,675 feet per second. That weight and design provide an excellent ballistic coefficient, which means you'll notice minimal wind drift, especially if you're stretching beyond a few hundred yards. Sierra's match bullets have a long-standing reputation for consistency in jacket thickness and base design, so you'll rarely get any weird flyers that throw off your entire group. If you're serious about punching tiny holes in paper at extended ranges, or you're involved in competitive shooting, this load can help you post the scores you've been aiming for. There are other great 6.5 Creedmoor rounds like Hornady 147 grain ELD match, which is famous for its high ballistic coefficient. I've seen some rifles that love that heavier bullet and produce some impressive groups, but occasionally a 147 can be finicky, and not every barrel stabilizes it well. Winchester Deer Season XP is ideal if you're strictly planning to hunt deer at moderate distances, but it's not built for the extreme precision demanded in competition. Cellier and Bellet FMJ loads might save you money for general practice, though you'd likely sacrifice the precision you get from a top-tier match cartridge. Sierra Match King 140 grain HPBT takes the 6.5 Creedmoor to its absolute limits as far as accuracy. You'll pay a premium for it, but the payoff is that it will never disappoint once you dial in your scope. If you're going after big game like elk or moose, or if you just want the security of a powerful 300 Winchester Magnum load, Nosler's trophy-grade 180 grain is a round you can rely on. This cartridge is built around the AccuBond bullet, which uses a bonded alloy jacket to keep the core and jacket together through thick hide and bone, and it offers controlled expansion so your shot energy goes right where you need it. With a muzzle velocity near 2,950 feet per second, you can take advantage of the flat shooting characteristics that 300 Winchester Magnum is known for, but you also get the bullet weight to maintain energy over longer distances. The polymer tip enhances accuracy and assists with consistent expansion upon impact. You won't have to worry about a close shot causing the bullet to blow up on bone or a long shot losing too much velocity to be effective. Nosler puts a lot of care into its trophy grade line, so it's not shocking to see it produce sub-MOA groupings in a properly set-up rifle. Some other heavy hitters in this caliber include Hornady Precision Hunter 200 grain, ELDX, and Federal Premium Terminal Ascent 200 grain. Both have excellent high BC bullets that maintain velocity at long range, but they can fragment more at shorter distances, and some folks find the heavier recoil a bit taxing on longer hunts. Remington Core Locked Tipped and Browning Silver series are more budget-friendly, yet you'll typically see less consistency in velocity or bullet weight retention when compared to Nosler's top-shelf offering. If you're investing in a 300 Winchester Magnum, chances are you need every edge possible for challenging hunts. That's where Nosler Trophy Grade 180 grain AccuBond shines. You might pay more for a box of this ammo, but it's a worthy investment if you want to bring home that trophy bull or make absolutely sure your shot counts on a once-in-a-lifetime hunt. And that's it for this video. Did your favorite make the list? If it didn't, tell us all about it in the comments section. And please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and click the bell icon so you won't miss our next deep dive into firearms and gear. Thanks for watching.